Culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. A story at a time, indeed. Good morning, y'all. Happy Monday. I was in a rush. I just put on my lipstick just now as that B-roll was going, because you know why? I had quite the weekend, and I've got a lot of photos to share with you guys, by the way. So just a good morning to y'all real quickly before we get into things. How are you all doing? How was your weekend? How was your Monday starting off? I want to know everything. Rise and shine. Allie, how are you, girl? Hope you're doing well. Boss lady, we missed you on Friday. Happy to have you back. Good morning, Theo, Shenzhen, Miss Tabitha's Nails, Ona, Kahara, TLC, Lol, Capone, and check this out, and everybody else watching. Guys, I have so many photos to share with you. I'm so excited. I feel like, show and tell at school or something like that. Do y'all remember the good times of those? So over the weekend, it's kind of funny. I have friends, and they are a couple. Thank you so much, TLC. They're a very, very lovely couple. And, they came over to my house on Saturday to help me with this project. I wanted to do a sort of a science project at my house. And so one of my friends, he is a scientist, a professional scientist with like he's got 2 PhDs. And so I was like, why don't you guys come over? We'll do this. And then, afterwards we kind of decided, hey, why don't we go out and do some like shopping? Because there's a lot of specialty stores here for like Japanese food and whatnot. And so we decided to go out. We did a lot of stuff like that. And then, as we're hanging out, we start talking and going like, hey, how cool would it be to do a little like day trip, like a little road trip, right? Because they just bought a new car. And so we just decided on a whim, why don't we go ahead and do that tomorrow? Let's go to this town, the next town over, called Provence. And it is a famous medieval town not too far from Paris. It's only about 1 hour away in car. Okay. And so we went over there, and let me pull up some of these photos. Okay. And I'm like taking a peek as I'm sharing the story, and I'm seeing that LOL just came back from an 11-day cruise. Oh, I am so jealous. You must have had the time of your life out in the sun and everything. Congratulations. How was it? Where did you go? Painting with my toddler. That is awesome. Painting is the absolute best. I just love, love, love painting, especially watercolor painting. Monica is getting ready for work. TLC, I did another video about Janelle and August's breakup, and it was like the same thing. He cheated on her. She found this out in the past. I don't know why all of a sudden she's back acting like this is new news, right? Allie's French teacher taught her about Provence. Let me go ahead and pull up a picture. And I saw the boxer or something. Where are you, Miss Boxer? Capone. Capone speaks French as well. So shout out to you, Capone, boss lady, and all my other francophones in here. Ça va bien et toi? Voilà. I'm going to pull up the photos. Look at the architecture of this place. I actually went to ChatGPT and I said, what is this architecture? I don't know why, but in my head, I thought this type of architecture was called Gothic architecture. Like I remember seeing it up in Normandy, and Normandy is one of my favorite regions in France. I really, truly love that place. And they have a lot of exposed beams like this, but ChatGPT tells me that this is called, hang on, let me go back, half timbered architecture. Something about it is just so freaking cool, fun, and just like funky, right? So again, it's called Provence, and it's spelled Provins, and that is where we went up yesterday. It was literally just yesterday, so that's why I'm so tired. Look at this beautiful house, right? So these are actually 2 different houses. And the one with like all the red shutters and stuff was just so adorable to me. They even had these cute little like hearts on their window shutters and everything like that. There was, of course, a castle there. Provence is known as a medieval town. Like it's super medieval themed. You could even have like a medieval dinner. You can have medieval brunches, desserts, whatever it is you want. And so, of course, in a medieval town, you've got to have castles, and you also have to have tunnels. So there we were going underground, exploring some of the tunnels. They've got about 10 kilometers worth of tunnels in this town. It is so damn cool. So if ever you guys are in Paris, I do recommend, and you've got the time, of course, if this is not just a little like trip to Paris, if you got like an extended amount of time, like, I don't know, like a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or something like that, why don't you go head over to Provence? Very easy to get there from Paris. We went by car, but you can also get there by train or by bus or something like that. Other places in the region I recommend are to go up to Normandy, of course, Honfleur. There's Dieppe as well. There's a lot of really Strasbourg just next door. Lyon is only 2 hours. There's a lot of really cool places to go. But this is one of those kind of like lower on the list, but still super places. So I'm really, really excited. And Capone says it reminds her of Holland, which is super duper cool. Honestly, we're so lucky here. We are so, so lucky. Now, I don't remember which one of you guys told me to do this on Friday, but someone told me we were talking about Chris Brown suing, I think it was Lifetime, for that documentary that they made about him. And then someone in the chat, if that was you, please feel free to let me know. Someone in the chat, let me know, like, hey, Grace, like that documentary is super duper inflammatory, blah, blah. I don't even like Chris Brown, but it's inflammatory. And what did I promise? I promised that I would go ahead and watch it, right? And that's exactly what I did. I didn't do it over the weekend, obviously, because I was so busy, with my friends. But I did watch it this morning, and I definitely want to talk to you guys about it. So just as a quick question, those of you who are watching live, let me know in the chat. And if you're watching the replay as part of my playback posse, let me know in the comment section. Did you watch that Chris Brown documentary, like about like his violent history and whatnot? And what did you think about it? So Boss Lady says her weekend was heavy. I was on the phone with my family in the US. Et pourquoi je n'étais pas là? Oh, okay. I hope everything was okay. I'm so sorry to hear that. It makes me really, really nervous to hear about that, but I hope everything will work itself out. Désolé. Being a felon ain't illegal. Okay, y'all, that documentary, okay, I have to say that overall, I thought it was pretty well done. I thought that at first it started very fair to both Chris and then, of course, to Rihanna as well, right? First of all, in terms of their kindness towards Rihanna, they were kind enough not to show pictures of her injuries. We all know how Chris Brown viciously punched her in the face, gave her these black eyes, gave her a knot on her head, busted her lip. He did everything, right? And they were kind enough to not go and show that. So to which I say, kudos to you guys on that. And then when it comes to Chris Brown and his own issues and what could have possibly possessed him to do that or to think it was normal to do something like that, they also went ahead and tried to explain it. They said Chris grew up in a family where his stepdad was doing this sort of thing to his mother. So there they are trying to humanize him as well. So I said, okay, there you go, trying to humanize Chris. I'm not yet seeing anything that is super inflammatory so far. And then on top of that, they go ahead and say that, hey, Chris Brown has been diagnosed with PTSD. He's also been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and, just these other things, right? So I said, wow. So they're also making a case for him by saying he's got issues mentally, right? And a lot of this is a result of him witnessing similar behavior as an impressionable child. So I do think that they really, really tried there to not be an attacking sort of a documentary, but to be a documentary that more so educates people, right? Then they talked about Rihanna and how her own history kind of led to her taking him back and everything like that, right? So I don't know. There is a controversial person who appeared in the documentary, and this person was kind of like their identity was hidden when they appeared in the documentary, and we will get to her later. But so far, I don't know, y'all. So far, I'm not seeing it. Okay. And so what do we find out a little bit later? They do a full-blown timeline. And to think, by the way, you guys, that and Capone, what caused it was that they were driving after a Grammy Award event, and Rihanna saw his phone, and he had like inappropriate text messages with another woman. It was rumored to be his former manager or his manager at the time. And then she confronted him, and he was like, how dare you confront me about cheating? I'm fist brown. I can cheat whenever I want to, right? And then that led to all of this, right? And so they then get into a timeline of Chris's history, and it was worse than I even thought, y'all. It was worse than I thought. I only thought that there was Rihanna. I thought there was Karrueche, maybe one other person, and that was it. But in the timeline, and they weren't just talking about, oh, he was casually accused here and there. Like, people were filing actual police reports about this man. And this man was settling a lot of these cases outside of court as well. And I think that that's why a lot of us may not have known about some of these other issues, right? Because again, he was full-blown settling. And here's my question. Why are you rushing to settle things, right? If what people are saying about you is not true. And you're this millionaire with all this money, all these resources in the world to crush these people in court, fight to clear your name, and you're not doing that. To me, it's kind of like when Diddy went ahead and settled with Cassie in like less than 24 hours. To me, that was an admission of guilt, right? So some of the incidents that they laid out, and again, documents were there. They had receipts, there were screenshots, literally, like everything, right? So apparently he had broken a random man's nose. How did I never hear about this? There was a time where he was outside of like some venue, and these ladies, good morning, Stephanie, and everybody else filing in. It is so nice to have you all here for the morning report. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So he was outside of a venue taking photos with some fans. And of course, it's two female fans. And this guy, he pops up out of nowhere in the background to photobomb. He wants to be in the photo too. It's Chris Brown. It's not every day, right? Is it rude? Yeah, but he was just in the background of this photo. Apparently Chris notices this man is photobombing their photo. What does he do? Picks up his trusty fist and then punches this man in the face. And what happens? He breaks this man's nose. So this man sued him, and Chris settled it. He didn't want any kind of I don't think he went like the criminal route, but he got his money out of Chris Brown, right? Then there was another case where he goes off to rehab. And this is what one of you guys brought up on Friday's stream, right? Chris Brown had been sentenced to anger management because he had a string of incidents, and his management was really worried about him. Like, this man truly has an issue, right? Exactly, Shani. What? I don't think he's going to win this case. I don't think he's going to win it, right? And so we find out, shout out to my co-reporter who brought this up in the live chat last week, but we find out about this time where he goes to rehab. His mom and his family members are brought in to help with this whole thing. And he wants to get out, but his mom's like, Chris, I think it would be good for you to stay a little bit longer. What does he do to prove her point? He takes a rock, goes outside, whips it at his mom's car window, shatters the entire front window of his mother's car. And so, the people speaking here, right? Like counselors, police, all sorts of things. They're like, look at this. This guy would do this sort of thing to his own mother. No wonder he has a history of doing these things to random women, right? Like, this guy just does not respect women at all. He does not like women at all. And then you also see videos of him threatening Karrueche, right? Remember when he was stalking her, following her places and whatnot? We find out that he was watching her social media pages to find out where she'd be. And then he'd pop up there. And one of them was the most famous incidents of this, where he literally follows her and jumps into her car, pushing her friends out of the way to get in there, right? And then he releases a video on his own account where he says, oh, if I can't have you, no one can have you. I'm going to make you miserable. Everywhere you are, I'm going to be. That is a threat, especially from a man who is famous for whooping the behind of his girlfriends, right? To me, I don't see anything yet at this point that can be considered inflammatory, because again, we're seeing actual lawsuits. And then in cases where police criminal complaints were filed, we're seeing those as well, right? And then we're seeing out of Chris Brown's own mouth that he is someone who is admitting to intimidating women, to stalking women, to wanting to make women miserable, right? It was so bad, the things that he said out of his own damn mouth, right? He's admitting he's a terrible person. Women belong to him. They are his property, and you cannot leave him. He said there is no escaping him. If he cannot have you, no one can have you. No one made that up. That was on video. So I definitely do implore you guys to go ahead and watch this if you haven't already. It is a very informative documentary. Theo says that I don't understand why so many women continue to support him. He's shown that he demonstrably does not value them. You know what? I'm telling you guys, I have lost I used to be a whiz. I used to be that girl when it came to the English language, but these days, it's a struggle sometimes. Demonstrably. Merci. Thank you. Voila. And I agree with you. Shamjam says now, because what caused the DV is that Chris is an uncontrollable menace, because there's never a reason to be beating up on your partner like that. I don't care what they did, leave instead, right? And for him, I think it's fun. For him, I think it's a game. I think it's, women deserve this sort of a thing, right? Like, it's terrible. Chip says there's so many victims of Chris Brown. He's a monster. And y'all, I swear this is why that nickname needs to stick. To me, this man is Fist Brown at this point. Like, and I don't say that to make light of it, but just to remind people, like, no matter what he does to try and clean up his image, he is just this person. It's who he fundamentally is. He could fake being something else, but this is who he is. Because again, in this documentary, they went through a 9-year timeline. So like maybe even more. Like, it's far back, y'all, right? And then in Karrueche's restraining order that was granted against him, she said that he punched her in the stomach a couple of times. And then she also showed text messages of him in black and white threatening to, quote, beat the ish out of her. Again, these are things that are documented, right? And then there was a Brazilian woman who came on, and she talked about how she was invited to a hotel for an after party with Chris and his friends. She was not supposed to have her phone there, but she snuck it in. And then he was acting really weird. I guess he was high. And so she wanted to get a photo of it. And then he saw her whipping out her phone. And instead of just kicking her out of the party, what does he do? He makes his way to her. Again, he picks up his trusty fist and he plants it on her face. And she went to the police to file a police report. This was in Vegas. The Vegas police refused to investigate this. And so next, she decides to do. What does she decide to do? She decides to sue him. Chris, he goes online. He says, oh, this woman's so ugly. She would never be allowed at a Chris Brown party. Like, no way. I don't freaking know her. Nothing. But then behind the scenes, the man settles the case. Why did you settle if you don't know this woman? Right? Like, why are you settling if you did nothing to her? So now that's the third person that he has settled with. Right? And then I will say that and actually there was another story about a woman, and she talks about a Chris Brown freak off. And so she goes to this party. There's lots of pills everywhere. There's lots of alcohol everywhere and other things as well. And she gets invited into a bedroom. And she says that there's a bunch of people in there. And then she hears Chris Brown yell to his security from the other side of the door that they need to barricade that door to keep people from going out. So once you're in this room, you are obligated to participate in whatever sorts of freaky shenanigans that he insists on engaging in at that moment, right? And here's the thing. If you accept to go into one of these rooms or whatever, that doesn't mean that you are obligated to participate in anything or to stay. You have the right to change your mind, back out, and leave. So Chris allegedly taking away that right by barricading people, that's scary. And this is not something that came out of thin air, right? Because she too went to complain about this. And what happened? He settles that lawsuit. So how many lawsuits has Fist Brown settled at this point? So many. Why is he constantly settling, right? This man is so innocent. He goes online, he verbally abuses all these women. He says that they're this, they're that, they're liars, they're everything. Yet every single time this man is settling these lawsuits. Good luck to him suing this network, because they've got an awful lot of proof and an awful lot of testimonies ready, waiting, on their side. And I think that this will get even worse for him because he too will have to answer to certain things, right? In the midst of this lawsuit. I do not believe that this is going to end well for him. And I agree with Cammie, right? Like, and I hate how these men always say this, right? These misogynistic men who treat women like garbage, all of a sudden when they have a daughter, I didn't know women were humans until I had a daughter. Shut the F up, and they truly feel this way. And they think it's such an amazing, like groundbreaking discovery that women should applaud them for. And I do think that he falls into that category as well. And then we also hear about something in Paris, right? And these are the two where I go, okay, well, maybe these two are not rock solid proof yet, but apparently he did that kind of freak off sort of thing where he allegedly barricaded people in Paris, and a Parisian girl went to the police about it, and then he went and sued her after the charges were not filed against him. And so maybe that's something that people are saying is questionable. And then the last one that I thought was kind of questionable, or maybe what people were complaining about, was a woman. She's anonymous in this documentary, but she's widely known already. Her name is, well, actually, maybe I won't say her name, but she talks about like being on a yacht with Chris and all this sorts of thing. And yeah, apparently she's already been exposed. But, in the documentary, they do talk about some quote unquote holes in her story. But there were holes in Chris Brown's story as well, because when he turned over text messages to the police, he only turned over text messages that she was sending him and deleted messages he was sending her. So it looked like she was talking to herself for almost a year, which wouldn't make any kind of sense, right? And then she turned over some text messages, but she had lost some as well. And she claims that it's because she changed providers and then she lost some of the evidence or whatever. So that one is up in the air. But so far, I do think that they were very fair in their assessment. And again, I do implore you guys to go ahead and watch that documentary if you have a moment. It's it's only about 1 hour and 15 minutes or so. And I completely agree, Ali. So I'm happy that girl realized that, and she went to the police. She went and she filed her lawsuit against him too, because sometimes people try and make you feel like, oh, just because you were in a certain place, you have to accept everything that comes with being in that place. And that's not true. We all have the right to change our minds. Right, Theo? Like, that is some scary, 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 like, stuff, honestly. So, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. I think that with Chris, or should I say with Fist, suing the network and the production company here, more people are going to come out of the woodwork with their own stories about their experiences with him. I don't believe that only these, dozen people or 8 people or whatever people featured in the documentary are the only people who have had the misfortune of being victimized or allegedly victimized by this person. I think that there's an awful lot more to come. People like this don't just stop after 1 or 2, right? Oh, Lord. Hamlet's Princess, good morning. Nice to see you again. TLC says there have been a lot of women who say that he took their phones and held them at his home for a period of time. One girl escaped and told her story a few years ago, I remember. And you know what? That's what all these girls in this documentary are saying as well. Sorry, you guys, I'm pulling up a pillow because I feel like I'm too low here. That's what all of these girls in this documentary are saying as well. They've all got the same story. Chris Brown is settling left and right. Why would he be settling if what they're saying is not true, right? And mon Dieu, indeed. Franchement, c'est grave. C'est grave. It's serious business, you guys. And by the way, you guys, if you haven't watched and you would like to watch, I do have a link in the description box of my video. One of my sponsors for my channel, Philo, they offer you a free account to sign up with them, right? And they do have those channels. They've got ID, they've got Lifetime, and so you'll be able to watch the documentary over there. Okay, so the link is in the description box of this video. And also, by the way, I didn't finish it yet because it's something I was watching this morning, so I'm only halfway through. And Milan talking about Karrueche coming forward. I do hope that she is featured in this as well. But I don't think that she is. But her story is heavily featured. So kudos to her for getting out of that, because that was a mess. Now, speaking about what is on TV, can we talk about last night's episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac? How many of y'all watched this? Let me know if you're watching live, okay? Or if you're watching my playback, shout out to my playback posse, my VOD squad, let me know in the comment section. But did you watch last night's Real Housewives of Potomac? Look at this. Look at this, okay? People always talk about how Mia is declassing the show, The Real Housewives of Potomac, but I'm sorry. I feel like that show was cheap, low budget, and tacky for, from the very beginning, right? Like from the time that Ashley started dry humping Robin, it already gave that vibe. And so when last night Ashley does this drag-in sort of an event and she takes off her top and she starts bumping and grinding on Karen, it just reminds me of how low budget she is, right? Last season, what was she taking us to do? She was taking us to play chicken-ish bingo, where you're playing with, you're betting on chicken poop. You're bringing the Real Housewives. They are supposed to represent opulence, wealth, glamour. But every time Ashley has to organize something, it is always the most lowbrow event that she can come up with. I feel like if you're going to do the drag stuff, maybe do it in a nice, fun, elegant way. Her drag mentor, who, by the way, didn't she look like Donald Glover? Her drag mentor was so fun, so funny. She wasn't like doing all this, but of course, Ashley always has to take it to a very, very dusty, low-brow direction, and I just can't. Philo, unfortunately, Milan, it's American, so it wouldn't be available in Denmark. I think the only way you'd be able to watch it from Denmark would be through a VPN and like an American credit card. I put it, I use a VPN to watch it, so you wouldn't be able to watch it in Denmark, unfortunately. So sorry. So let me go back to Ashley taking off her top, because here she is doing the drag thing. Did you guys notice, how comfortable she is with these sorts of things in front of her family, right? Her family is, I don't even know how to describe them. They're so fascinating. That person who is taking the pictures of Ashley topless is her mother, Sheila. She is so excited. And to the left of her, or to the right of her, but our left, is Ashley's show boyfriend. What is his name? They call him Jack Harlow, but I forgot his real name. So there he is, right? And then you've got her uncle in there. Freeze frame. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I wound up, in front of my topless niece. It's all just so low budget to me. It is. And not low budget in terms of money, right? But low budget in terms of just the oddness of it all. The things that she is doing here in front of her family. It's just so odd to me. But hey, listen, different family dynamics, I suppose. Theo says, I watched RHOP last night. Well, don't be shy. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think. And yes, thank you for reminding me. His name is Josh. By the way, what do y'all think about Josh? Because I know Wendy can't stand him, right? For whatever reason. She only met him one time, and she said that Ashley could do better. I said, do better than what? Is it just his looks? Because we don't know anything about this guy. Ashley was with Michael Darby. Anything is a step up from Michael Darby. And the ability to be with Michael Darby for several years, full-blown marry him, have kids with him, I think it shows a certain level of character to which I don't think it's a great thing, right? In terms of Ashley's character, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say she could do better than this guy just because he's young or maybe he's not rich. I think that, your character is more important than those sorts of things, but we're all different, right? We all have different criteria. Kristen says, I've never watched The Real Housewives, but I've been considering checking it out. You absolutely should. It is a cult classic, and I hope you'll get sucked in. Guys, what should Kristen start with when it comes to The Real Housewives? I would actually say, why don't you go ahead and start with The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because it's the youngest franchise out right now. So it's the easiest one to binge and fully get into. And the last two seasons of it, and the first season as well, are super duper explosive. And, I think you'll really like that. So I would start with that, then move up from there. Capone says, why are some of these celebrities so creepy? They have a pool of willing participants. Why choose to do this? It's about power. They get off on torturing people, I think, at the end of the day. Trashley can't help herself. She exudes tackiness. I agree. Just every single scene she's in, it is just not it, in my opinion. Why did they not give I thought they did. Or maybe they just said Giselle's friend, and then she did say that they worked together, right, on a different show. So yeah, maybe I didn't notice, but I did see her name. I could have sworn I did anyway. Let's talk about Wendy, by the way, real quickly here. Okay, so this is Ashley walking in to this scene where, by the way, Giselle went back to her old mean girl ways. So they're in this boutique owned by Vivian, who I really liked in the first episode that they featured her in, but they kind of let her fall to the wayside, right? So there she is next to Stacy right here. So Ashley, she's walking in. Stacy is having them do some sort of charity thing to help adopt animals and whatnot. And so Ashley walks in, and Wendy is in the background. You don't see her in the screenshot, but there she is with a hat, actually. And she's looking at Ashley. She goes, Ashley, wow, last time I saw you, you had a oh my God, she is just so effortlessly funny, and I love it. I think she has been so incredible. And then when Giselle comes with her kind of, mean girl comments about like, oh, I didn't know you were into charity, like Wendy just laughing in her face and everything. Like, I love her. She's so funny. Do you guys like Wendy, by the way? Like, are you guys fans? Because I know for whatever reason, she's very divisive amongst the audience. I thought, okay, at first I could see why people didn't like her. In her first season, she did come on too strong, in my opinion, especially with like the rehearsed reads and whatnot about having 4 degrees. It was very, very like cheesy to me. But this season, she really, truly has come into her own, and I absolutely love it. So Allie wants Jack Harlow off her screen. Theo says that Josh is too young for Ashley. Listen, I think I agree with you guys. I do think that he's a little bit too young for her, and this is why Wendy calls him a rented boyfriend. We all know that's not a real relationship that's going to last. I think they like each other for fun, but it's not going to last, and it might just be for show. Who knows? Maybe he is a singer or something. And you know what I'm looking at here, you guys? You know how earlier in this episode I was talking about going to Provence? I forgot that I bought some rose syrup, because over there they had a specialty cocktail. It's called a rose spritz. So they put rose syrup in it, and you have like tonic, and you've got like Prosecco. Absolutely delicious. I bought it so I can make some of that here too at home. So damn good. Someone asked if I was in the catacombs, by the way. No, it was just like they have, because it's a medieval town, right? So a lot of people would have to hide during wars and battles and whatnot underground. So it's kind of like bunkers, 10 kilometers of bunkers, by the way. Theo saying that RHOBH or Salt Lake City are good entry points. I absolutely agree. And season 2 of RHOBH was legendary. Then, of course, you do have Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is absolutely incredible as well. Honestly, the Real Housewives is just iconic television. It truly, truly, truly is. And I hope that you're able to get into it, Kristen. So overall, it was a fun episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac. But like I told you, Giselle's true colors came out again. She just was so damn mean to Stacy for no reason. She showed up all the way there to tell Stacy that she was a rude person for reaching out to her own friend Vivian, who's the lady you see next to her there, to organize beautiful dresses and outfits for the girls to work with charities. And so she was trying to say that Stacy went behind Karen's back to work with Karen's friend, but the gag is Stacy has always known Vivian, and they were friends long before she ever even met Karen, right? So this is the thing I can't with Giselle. She tries so hard. Like anytime she's getting a moment, it has to be like off the back of nastiness and belittling other women. And that's why I just can't get with her. I really, really cannot. But I don't know. I know a lot of y'all like her, so God bless you guys who are fans of her, but she's just not for me. She truly is not. And by the way, you guys, in the live chat, I am just loving all of the suggestions that you guys are making for or leaving for Kristen about the Real Housewives franchise. RHOC is the first franchise, always a good one. RHOA, hell, love them all. And you know what? I agree. Season 1 of RHOA is so good as well with Wig Zolciak smoking cigarettes, and she's got like this glass of wine in her car, and she was just a mess. Big Papa, all that stuff. Oh God, I'm jealous of you, Kristen. I would love to watch again for the first time. What a dream. What a dream. I always say that about other shows as well. Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. And there's another show that I love so much on Netflix, Palpito or The Marked Heart. I would kill to be able to watch those things for the first time ever. So if you haven't watched these things yet or ever, please go ahead and enjoy for me. And another one, I think some of you guys are trying to learn French. Another one is Family Business on Netflix, which is incredible. Jonathan Cohen is the absolute best. He is a riot. And so is Leila Bekti. She's the one I actually met in Paris on Christmas Day. at les Jardins de Tuileries. Anyway, you guys, give me a quick second. We've got a lot more content to go over today. So we're going to talk about Billy Ray Cyrus threatening to sue his son. On Friday's episode, we talked about how his son Trey Cyrus is trying to, help him. He's saying, Billy, like, you're struggling. I was struggling once too. I'm not going to talk about what it is you're struggling with, but please get help. You haven't been in your children's lives. We need you, right? Justin Baldoni's wife, his mom, his sister are all, speaking up for him, celebrating him. Some of them are even shading Blake Lively in his birthday post. Gypsy Rose Blanchard was allegedly visited by CPS. She is responding to those claims. And then we're going to talk about the Married at First Sight star who says that she had to pay $60,000 to divorce from her reality star husband. $60,000, y'all. And then Cynthia Bailey from the Real Housewives of Atlanta being dumped by her 80-year-old billionaire boyfriend. Stick around. If you're enjoying the stream so far, please go ahead, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you after a word from our sponsors. The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than Ruthia. Ruthia is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven age prevention benefits such as average 14% wrinkle reduction after 4 weeks of use. Click the link below and receive 30% off your first purchase today. And we're back. Oh, and shout out to you, Crème Brûlée, because Lupin is another one that is incredible for French learners. Omar Sy is just incredible, and he has been crossing over into the English marketplace. So y'all probably already know him as well. So let's get into the Cyrus family drama. I see a lot of you guys we're also here on Friday's episode, so it's really cool that we're able to continue this story, although it is a sad story nonetheless. But Trey Cyrus is speaking out yet again to try and help his father, Billy Ray Cyrus. So for those of you who do not know or perhaps don't recognize the last name link, but all of these people are related to the Miley Cyrus. And apparently Billy Ray has just not been doing well, and he has only been spiraling for a very, very long time. Trace has had enough, and he is speaking out in an effort to save his father. So he posted a photo of Billy Ray sucking it in as he was getting vaccinated, wearing a shirt that says, "Jesus is my booster." Trace makes fun of the shirt, "Jesus is my booster." Oh, the irony. For all of you wondering, no, I still haven't heard from my dad. He did contact a family member to let me know he's taking legal action against me for encouraging him to get help. Dad, I live 30 minutes away from you. You could have come and talked to me like a man. Ooh, okay. And that's not all. He continued on to say, and I quote, "Dad, my message was beyond loving. I could have been extremely honest about a lot more, but I don't want to put your business out there like that. But for you to threaten me with legal action for wanting you to get help is a disgrace. Pappy is looking down at you with such disappointment, I can assure you. You should be ashamed of yourself. I will always love you, but I no longer respect you as a man. Everyone close to you is terrified to tell you how they really feel. I'm not. Get help." And so for those of you wondering how the relevant member of their family is taking all this, Miley Cyrus, apparently she is still maintaining her distance from her father. A source tells People magazine, and I quote, "Miley used to feel overwhelmed by the family drama. She worked hard to remove herself, and she's not about to get involved again. She's in a great place now. She's thriving and looking out for herself." So there you go. She's had it. Listen, Miley is about to be at the Grammy Awards. She won her first Grammy last year, and I smiled because her celebration of winning her first Grammy was so stinking cute, right? Remember, she's singing Flowers, and she's being sued for that song right now, by the way. And I'm not surprised. I did a video about this, but the song it's obviously inspired by When I Was Your Man. It borrows a lot of the lyrics and everything like that. So I'm not surprised she's getting sued. However, she's not being sued by Bruno Mars. But anyway, bref. Besides the story, besides the point, I just loved her celebration of winning her first Grammy. It's so sweet. I love Miley Cyrus. I really, really, really do. So yeah, listen, she's preparing for the Grammys. They're coming up in just a couple of weeks now, and she could be performing, doing a surprise performance with Beyonce as well. Remember at Beyonce Bowl, she brought out Shabuzi, she brought out Post Malone, she brought out, and I feel so bad for forgetting their names. Remember, who were the girls from Blackbird? That song Blackbird? Sorry guys, I forgot their names, but she brought up the lovely ladies from Blackbird as well, the song Blackbird. And Miley Cyrus was noticeably absent. And Miley Cyrus is one of the biggest names, that she could have brought out. So a lot of members of the Beehive, myself included, think that Beyonce is saving Miley for the Grammy Awards, right? So I do think that it is in Miley's best interest to stay away from all of this, right? What about you guys? What do you guys think? Would you like to see Miley come out and talk about this, or is it best to stay away? And also, mic check 1 2 1 2. If you're watching live, let me know in the chat. If you're part of my replay, part of my playback posse watching the replay, let me know in the comment section. But how do you feel about Billy Ray threatening to sue his own son? Oof. To me, I think it proves that what his son is saying is true, because I don't know that a sober father would. At least I would hope that a sober father would not threaten to sue over that. And, I would hope that he would just show up. We don't know Capone, if he's an alcoholic or not. Trace, in his initial cry for help, he did say that he himself was one and that he is now sober. But I'm not sure, but I really am wishing the best for Billy Ray and the Cyrus family. They have been through so much, y'all. They've been through so much. Did I do the mic check for you guys on the Grammy Awards? Because, I got the memory of a goldfish. Mic check, mic check. Do you think that Miley Cyrus is going to perform Most Wanted with Beyonce at the Grammy Awards? I really hope she does. That's one of my favorite songs on Cowboy Carter, right? I love Levi's Jeans, and I love Bodyguard. I love Bodyguard, but Most Wanted as well. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I think you guys. Let me shout out to the lovely, beautiful ladies who sang with Beyonce, Blackbird at Beyonce Bowl, Brittany Spencer, Tanner, Adele as well. Shout out to them. They were super duper, 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 duper talented. Okay. Now let's get into our next story about Justin Baldoni. The drama just never, ever, ever stops with him and Blake Lively. Now, does it? I will say, though, that things took a little bit more of a positive turn this past weekend, right? Because it was Justin Baldoni's birthday. Happy birthday to you, Justin Baldoni. And thank you to his mom for birthing such a beautiful creature. Let's take a look at what some of his family members had to say to, celebrate his big day. So this is his mom. And his mom's beautiful, too. And I think they've got the same mouth. Do they have the same nose? I think they got the same nose. I think he took after his mom, perhaps with his dad's facial shape, but I'm seeing a lot of his mom in him. Her name is Sharon Baldoni, and she posted a series of photos of the two of them on a beautiful bench, saying in a quote, "Happy birthday, Justin. Remembering a wonderful moment after the final ending of Jane the Virgin, a moment where joy and love permeated the set, where friendships and family were born, and kindness and integrity permeated the hearts of all the actors and crew, where sadness only entered because it was the final scene of a wonderful journey and the beginning of the rest of our lives. A happy, loving, and generous memory with hearts exploding with possibilities. Life has its moments and also its surprises. As you keep your integrity through it all, justice and truth will shine today and into eternity. I love you more than you will ever know. Happy birthday, my beautiful boy." Ooh, and I mean beautiful, Miss Sharon. "May God continue to bless you in truth." So that was a birthday wish for Justin, basically saying, and F that be Blake Lively, because until she came into our lives, we never had any damn problems. You were on this long running, TV show. It was nothing but love, nothing but joy, nothing but laughter and kindness. The only sadness was that it was all ending. And don't worry, the truth will prevail against that witch. So this is the first time we're hearing her speak, about any of this. And so she was very, she was not so subtle, y'all. She truly was not subtle about it at all. But what do you guys think? Listen, I get it. I feel like I would be the same if someone came from my son too, y'all. I would be the same. Hey, Al, nice to see you, girly. Nice to see you. So Deborah says his mom is gorgeous. Creme Brulee says apparently Ryan wrote nice pool about Justin. It's in his movie Deadpool versus Wolverine. We did do a morning report about this, and it really truly looks like that is the case because nice pool had the man bun that Justin wears. Apparently, Ryan contoured his nose or did some sort of prosthetics to mimic Justin's nose as well. Nice pool, spoiler alert, but he gets offed in front of a flower shop, and we all know that the flower shop is all about the flower shop that Lily Bloom worked in. There's a lot of other major things that give that away. So, I do think that Justin stands a chance of, winning that claim, but I think he would have to file a separate lawsuit because he rolled it into something else that I don't think it's too pertinent for, but it's crazy all that Ryan was doing. In fact, I completely forgot. I have a screenshot of Ryan wishing someone a happy birthday. I think it was Sandra Bullock. This man had Justin Baldoni on heavy on his brain. Like he was really threatened by Justin and Blake's movie. So Ryan was wishing, I think Sandra Bullock, right? A happy birthday. This was months ago, or maybe years ago. And in the comment, it said something like, happy birthday, something about we need an intimacy coordinator and an HR department. And so obviously now with everything coming out, that was a nod to Justin Baldoni. And it's just so weird that he was always bringing him up in some way or another. Very, very strange guy. Theo says, I watched It Ends With Us yesterday. I still can't believe all this drama came out of this mediocre movie. Isn't it always the case? A mess indeed. And guys, I still haven't even watched it myself. And Sharon, you're going to absolutely adore that city. It is so damn charming. I love, these cute little underrated cities. And you know what? I won't even say that because it makes me want to cry. Blake was more worried about the wardrobe in that mid-movie than discussing the DV component. It is honestly, it's an awful lot, y'all. And it's not even just Justin Baldoni's mom who came out speaking about his birthday. His sister and his wife also had some things to share. So let's get into what his sister shared. She said, happy birthday, JB. I love you and I celebrate you. The man you are, the love you embody, the strength of your connection to God, the essence of your being, your dedication to truth, subtle nod to Blake Lively there once again, to service and to love today and all days. I am so proud to call you my big brother and annoyingly squeeze the hell out of you until the end of time. So there you go. Did y'all see? Wait a minute. What was that? What was that? Matthew, are you here in the live chat or are you watching the playback? Because this feels like something one of y'all would leave. I didn't even notice this when I took the screenshot, but someone named Matthew wrote, happy birthday, Justin. Blake Lively sucks. Now, come on now. Damn. So Justin Baldoni's sister, she did the similar thing to the mom, talking about how, listen, the truth is going to come out, right? The truth is going to come out. The mom was not subtle about it at all, but the sister absolutely was. But they are saying the same thing. You know what? Now that I've looked at that comment, let me go back and see what other comments came up. Were there any comments in the mom's post? Hang on. Let's see what they said. Okay, there you go. Someone said, Lynn Lavender said, don't worry, mama, we got him. And then as much as blah, blah, blah. So there you all go. Okay. I think I wasn't looking for comments. So when I just saw this one for the first time, I'm sorry, but that really took me aback. The internet is such a crazy place. And now here is his wife, Emily Baldoni. Look at this beautiful photo of their family. Really, really beautiful. She just wanted to keep things light. She said, happy birthday, my love, celebrating the man, husband, and father that you are. I choose you again and again. Girl, me too. I choose him right now too. Beautiful, beautiful photo. So, we got two of them shading Blake Lively with their posts and the wife kind of just keeping things cute, keeping things mute, and sticking to his birthday, which I do think was a great choice. Now let me go ahead and see some of y'all's read some of y'all's comments, okay? Because they come a little bit quickly as I'm reading, but I want to take a moment to stop and read some of them, okay? So Boss Lady, and by the way, if you're enjoying the morning report, please do make sure to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so that YouTube knows that you love my content and you want to continue seeing my videos and my streams. If you're new here, welcome. We do the morning report every single weekday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Monday to Friday. So Boss Lady says, I'm not sure if I'll watch the movie because I'm turned off now. I feel you. TLC says the wigs. And you know what? I saw the wardrobe. The wardrobe was not good. All that fighting just to put up, some whack wardrobe. Okay. Ryan wanted to be the star in the marriage when he married Scarlett, allegedly. I have heard that rumor as well. I had no idea Blake and Ryan were so awful until that reporter came forward and showed that interview about the baby bump. Then it snowballed from there. Oh, I saw that infamous interview as well. It was not good. Though I will say that interviewer is a bit of an oddball as far as journalists go. It seems like she's kind of just trying to torch her career with the sorts of videos that she puts out there. Because I think she tried to do a takedown of Anne Hathaway and it flops. Like, she's a little bit off. Though I do agree that interview was very telling when it comes to Blake. Hey, LB. Al says, I definitely believe Justin, but always wondered why his podcast host left his podcast. But I just found out she's friends with Blake and Ryan. So maybe that has something to do with it. Remember, Blake is besties with Taylor Swift, and Taylor has this sort of kind of like a cliquey sort of a vibe to her and whatnot. So I think that they utilize similar PR strategies in that respect. It says Blake desperately needs someone in her life to tell her she is not talented. The way she waxed poetic over her stiff performance during the interviews was embarrassing. Ouch! Julie says, there's a video I saw over the weekend that was a great deep dive on a conspiracy as to why all of this is going down. I couldn't tag you. Oh, girl, email me. Or you know what? I'm also on the platforms. What am I on? I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Threads. And I'm on Instagram, but I don't really like it like that. You know what I just launched, you guys? I have to tell you, I have a Substack, like a blog. I started blogging because, that's how I even got into this whole world, like was through a blog back in high school when that was like all the rage. Like I started with Tumblr, then I did a blog spot, and WordPress is the one that stuck and really launched everything for me before I moved into YouTube. So I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get back to my blogging roots. So Grace Report at Substack, just a little bit of an FYI. I want to know what all of this, this conspiracy is all about. Okay, you guys. Now let's get into our next story. We're going to talk about Gypsy Rose. And I know y'all don't like Gypsy Rose, but listen, we got to talk about her. We've got to talk about her. She is at the center of a little controversy again. Rumors were swirling over the weekend. People were saying that Gypsy Rose Blanchard was visited by CPS. She recently had a daughter, Aurora. I don't know why, but I always struggle with this. It feels like just a mouthful to me. Nothing against the name, but I just struggle with it. So let me try one more time. Aurora, right? Aurora. Anyway, so she took to her Instagram page to debunk the CPS claim, saying, and I quote, false rumors of the week. Number 1, no, CPS is not involved. Our baby is very safe and healthy. Eye roll emoji. Number 2, no, I'm not on any weight loss medication. I just look damn good for postpartum. You hate me because you ain't me. Shrug. Number 3, no, Christy does not take care of my child for me. I do everything and I'm rocking it as a mom. Number 4, no, the baby in the picture with Ken and I after birth is not a doll or fake baby. If anyone actually believes this BS, then your brain has been rotted by misinformation and clickbait with bias and hate-driven content. God gave you a brain, use it. Oh, Miss Rose is fed up with you guys. Miss Rose is fed up. And listen, I absolutely understand why she would be feeling that way. People have been attacking her an awful lot ever since they found out that she was pregnant because of what went down with her mom. right? So Gypsy Rose maintains that she was a victim of Munchausen's by proxy, that she was forced by her mother to undergo unnecessary procedures, and she felt trapped. And all of this led to her teaming up with her ex-boyfriend to end her mother's life, right? And so there are people who support her, who say, hey, listen, like, I've seen the photos, you know, based on what she's saying and everything like that. Like, it was terrible what was happening to her. She was a victim. Of course, she would snap and do that. And then there are people who say that she's lying, that none of that is true, and that she's just someone who's a little bit bloodthirsty. I gotta ask y'all, is it safe? Is it safe to ask y'all? Mic check 1 2 1 2. What end of the spectrum do you fall on when it comes to Gypsy Rose? Was she a victim of Munchausen's by proxy who was forced to make such a decision? Or was she someone who was just bloodthirsty and looking for an excuse? Or third option, was she a victim of Munchausen's by proxy who made a poor decision because she could have just left the house, right, with a boyfriend instead of turning back and doing this, right? I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know in the live chat if you're watching live, or in the comment section if you were part of my playback posse. I really, really want to know. I think that people who hate her are going to continue to call CPS. This is something that happens a lot to these sorts of, you know, reality stars and whatnot. Janelle Evans from Teen Mom 2 is an example of this. People have done this to Cardi B. People have done this to all sorts of people in the public eye. So I don't think that this is the last time that we're going to hear about CPS making an appearance in her home, for better or worse. Hey, Stephanie, good morning to you, and good morning to everybody else tuning in to the morning report. If you're enjoying the show, please make sure to go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Charisma says, Fla has been through worse. I'm sure she's going to be fine. Yeah. And allegedly says Ryan Reynolds has a lot of folks fooled thinking he's such a good guy. Not his jealousy makes him unhinged. In my opinion, Blake, shame on you for going along with this BS. The bully couple. Ooh, T. Listen, I did hear about that stuff. About him being jealous of like his wives or his girlfriends or whatever, and wanting them to kind of stop working and whatnot. I had heard about that with Scarlett Johansson and whatnot. LB says, I believe she was a victim, but I hope this is about Gypsy Rose. I hope that she's getting therapy, especially now that she's a mother. I agree, right? Jessica says she's a victim, but does not excuse her actions. I can agree with that as well. She could have left the house, called the police, etc. Red rum is never an option, especially your own. I agree. TLC says Gypsy scares me. Yeah, I can see that too. Marie says she was sick and she had a microdeletion. I have heard about that as well, right? People were saying, listen, like she needed those surgeries that were necessary. TLC says, I just pray Gypsy can focus on her baby and stop worrying about these ridiculous things she's posting about. This is CPS's time to shine and keep an eye on her. It's not just she was a victim, but also her upbringing. I don't know if she really has changed. I think she still has that dog in her. Every time someone talks about having the dog in them, it makes me laugh. It just reminds me of Tim from Love is Blind. Listen, guys, I think you all raised very, very good points about Gypsy and everything like that. And I do think that, listen, I used to recap her reality show. And by the way, if you haven't already, that's another show that you can go ahead and watch on Philo. I've got an affiliate link in the description of this video to get you a free account. But that reality show really shows you how underdeveloped she is intellectually and stuff like that, and emotionally. Like she wasn't really, she seemed like a child who was like 30 years old or something like that. So I too, when I heard that she was pregnant, I was scared, like for her and for the baby, because it's like a child raising a child. Like, yeah, chronologically she's in her 30s, but the girl, like, she missed a lot of life, and it shows. And I would have hoped for her to be able to go and truly enjoy and live and learn and experience life before going down this road. But I think that this is in line with everything, right? That her reasoning and everything like that is just not fully developed. And that's why she's making these decisions, right? Like, it's only been 1 year since she was let out of prison. And what has happened in that year? She was already married before getting out, but then she got separated from her husband. She gets back with her ex, gets pregnant by her ex within like the first time they're boinking. And then she files for divorce from her husband, and then the baby is born. All of this is too much, you know? I wish that she went slower, a lot slower, and really just, you know, enjoyed life a little bit more. And grew, because she has a lot of growing to do. Houston says she thinks that Gypsy is both. Exactly. Honestly, I think it's a lot more complicated than some of her like biggest haters give it credit for, but I digress. And yeah, the weight loss thing is kind of odd to me. She looks fine. She looks fine, you know, like leave people alone. Damn, about their bodies, especially women. Women are always on body watch, and I don't love that. Martha Stewart's comment on Ryan Reynolds would forever be funny. Oh yes, yes. He was trying so hard, and she was like, "Listen, you ain't funny, boo. You ain't." And he was so upset about it, as he should be. Y'all, do you remember this couple from Married at First Sight? This is back when I was still watching that show religiously. I loved the first few seasons of Married at First Sight. It was so juicy, truly. So this couple is Beth and Jamie. And Beth obviously is the woman on the left. Jamie is the male on the right. And they were married. And I still do not even understand how or why they got married with all of the fighting they were doing on that show. The woman even said that sleeping with him was a chore because he only offered basic Caucasian sex. And that was one of the most iconic quotes to come out of the franchise, because what does that even mean, right? Like, she hated this guy and this guy hated her right back. So I still do not get how they got married, or how the experts allowed or, you know, continue to advise them to continue building on this very, very toxic relationship. But nonetheless, they got married, and they were married for quite a few years, but they recently divorced, and Beth is now shopping around information about what exactly happened. She's obviously not giving the full details because she's got to pay for that $60,000 divorce. She posted a video of her lip syncing to some music saying, "You're so funny. Ha, thanks. I married a stranger on TV and it cost me $60,000 to get a divorce." And then in the caption of this video, she says, "So true story. I got married to a stranger on TV and it really cost me $60K to divorce him. And yeah, I'm going to talk about it for that price." So there you go. And for those of you who don't know, Beth was someone who had like well-off parents, and she didn't really need to work. And I think that Jamie was kind of jealous of it. I always got the vibe he was jealous. He tried to belittle her and everything like that. She did a couple of like little things to help out at her dad's company, but for him, it wasn't enough. He was like, "Oh, like you're living like a teenager. You're not a responsible adult," all this stuff. Yeah, he married her anyway. Yeah, he still wanted to. I think he just wanted to break her down and, you know, make her feel bad for having a very privileged life. And, you know, I really, really hate that she fell for it and married this guy, because he's just not good news, in my opinion. Yes, she is a loose cannon. Yes, she is a mess. But this man, I don't know, like his hatred for her was very, very palpable from the very beginning. And yeah, Thea, what does it even mean? Like it was one of her biggest complaints about him, that it was just basic, plain old Caucasian sex. And so I'm thinking that it cost $60,000, perhaps because she had to pay him a little bit, because again, she comes from money, right? And so you got to pay perhaps some alimony or something. And then on top of that, paying for your lawyers. So I think with all things considered, she got off pretty easily, because there's another reality couple that recently divorced. It's Rachel and Brian from the Bachelor franchise, and that divorce cost Rachel like $500,000 to about $600,000, and they were married for about the same amount of time, y'all. So once again, congratulations to you, Beth, on divorcing your biggest hater, but I'm sorry that it cost you so much money. And I'm with you, Shem Jem. They were married for a lot longer than I could have ever imagined that they would be married for. So kudos to you. Well, I don't know if I could say kudos to you on that, because I think she was struggling with it from the very beginning. So to me, like, the idea of someone putting up with misery for several years, it makes me sad. It really, really does. But I digress. Brandon, good morning. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for watching my videos over the past few years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so sad though, because we're wrapping up this morning's report. We're about to end, but hey, just as a little bit of a heads up, we go live with the morning report every single weekday morning. That's Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm hoping to get you bright and early tomorrow. Now, I wanted to read some of the comments that people had to say about this divorce between Beth and Jamie, right? Some people are saying that a prenup should be a mandatory part of the show. Someone else said, whenever my husband makes me mad, I tell him, thanks for the Caucasian sex. It really ruined my day. People are so damn funny. And that line is still forever iconic. Now, on our last story, by the way, if you guys are enjoying the morning report, please do make sure to go ahead and give the stream a thumbs up. We got to talk about Cynthia Bailey. She had a billionaire boyfriend who was like 80 years old. And here's the thing, though. She built all this up in her head because she went on one date with this man. And now here she is on a podcast talking about she was ready to redecorate his houses. Well, no wonder he dumped you, girl. Anyway, take a listen. She says it for herself on her podcast with Crystal Minkoff from the Real Housewives.
I was on that dating app for a long time, which, by the way, I'm officially off Raya.
Okay.
There was this guy on there, and he was like older. And I'm like older, but he was like older.
Like what?
Girl, he was like 80.
Love it.
Okay. He was like a billionaire.
Oh, God.
You know, his profile was crazy. He had houses everywhere. Paris, Miami, Beverly Hills.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, he's rich. At this point, he's like, okay, like, let's go out. So he has his driver pick me up, and he meets me at the restaurant.
Okay.
It's like a private club restaurant. Like, you have to be a member to go to a restaurant.
I'm in love with him.
I know. So I get there, and we have the best time. Crazy chemistry. He's a lot of fun. Everything's good. We're like pretty consistent talking on the phone here and there. Cause now I'm like, all right, I don't want to like overwhelm him because here's my big shot to like become this billionaire wife. And then I got a text saying, hi, you know what? I think you are amazing. You are so sweet, so incredible. But I think, we should just be friends. And I was like, how the hell do you break up with somebody that you're not even with? We had one meal. Like, nothing even happened yet. Like, we didn't even do anything yet.
So sad.
Like, all we did was go to dinner, and it was a fun dinner. I know I'm not crazy. I know it was fun.
And you already bought decorations for the Paris house.
Completely.
How funny is that? She went on one date with an old man and she was ready to say yes to the dress and to decorate his Parisian house, which, by the way, he must be rich if he has a house in Paris, because that is, you know, c'est assez rare. It's pretty damn rare to have a house here. So that's kind of funny. And it's like Theo says, an old man can look like a 10 out of 10 for the right price, honey. And it's like Beyonce said in her Renaissance album, must be the cash because it ain't your face, you know. Lord have money. Not Lord have money. Lord have mercy. Oops. And I know Theo's going to get on me for that because I think last Friday I said something about the royals and I accidentally said inbred instead of in bed, and he called me out on that too. And yes, I hope she was saving her money. Listen, this podcast with Crystal, I don't know if y'all listen to it or not, but their podcast is called Humble Brag, and it's actually pretty good. I was talking about this with Campfire the other day, like very unlikely pairing, but it's a good podcast. So if you guys haven't already, I definitely do recommend it for you guys if you're into the Bravo Housewives universe. He's awesome. Nice to see you here. We missed you. I'm not mad at the 80-year-old man. He has one blue pill and no time for the BS. You know what? As soon as you said that, it's awesome. I was envisioning Tyra Banks with like the two photos, like of the two finalists. I've got one pill and two gold diggers before me. Sorry, Cynthia, it will not be you tonight. Boss lady says, I mean, she said it herself, nothing happened yet, and you're already buying gifts. It is all too damn much. Cynthia's always doing the most. Cynthia's corny. She really is, but I love it. She's corny, but I love that about her. You know, I knew you'd be on me, Theo. I knew it. Lotus Flower, nice to see you again. We missed you as well. Loose Cannon, I'm sorry, but Seggy balls is a lot for me to swallow, even for money, pun intended. Girl, I feel you. Couldn't be me either. I have a feeling he probably smells like mothballs. Is that too much? It might be too much. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. And Kahara loves the podcast, one of the best Housewives podcasts. And I agree. It's a really, really, really good podcast. I don't generally listen to Housewives podcasts. I typically listen to like content creators like myself. You know, I like Campire's podcast. I like Behind the Velvet Rope. And there are other ones that are not coming to mind right now, but I enjoy. But in terms of like housewives doing podcasts, that's like the only one that I'll actually like full blown listen to, y'all. So Lord can have the mercy and give me the money. There y'all go. There y'all go. Acting up. And I love it. And I do agree that Crystal needs to get over it. She's always like, oh, I don't watch it. But listen, she's a very, very sensitive young millennial. God bless her. Because I think she was too young for that show. You know, like it wasn't a great fit. But I do like her. And I did like her final season. But she's a bit heavy and a bit dramatic and a bit much for me in general. But I will say, yes, it was so nice to finally see Bill Burr's wife, Nia, on the show, because I really like her and I love Bill Burr's Monday Morning podcast. So for that, I'll always, love Crystal for bringing her on the show. And I agree with you, Kambule. Listen, she's a supermodel after all. She might not be modeling now, or maybe she's modeling for the Favors Mom's clothing catalog, but she was once a supermodel, and that goes a long way with rich men, right? Yup, mothballs indeed. And I do love Lovely T as well. She's one of the OGs of this space on YouTube. So shout out to her as well. Guys, we've come to the end of the Monday Morning Report. I had such a great time catching up with all of you. Thank you all so much for being here. Don't forget, we do go live every single weekday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, of course, there will be another one tomorrow as well. It's already pre-programmed. Feel free to go to my page and hit the bell notification to be notified when it goes live. Don't forget that I did just launch a Substack blog. It's gracereport.substack if you want some blogging content. So, for example, at the top of this episode, we spoke a little bit about my day trip to Provence. And so I'm going to be writing about that over on Substack as well. So feel free to go ahead and check that out. And I do have a couple of other posts over there as well. So shout out to you guys once again. Thank y'all so much for all of your support. I think we're almost about to hit 2 months, soon, of this morning report. And I am just so happy. And I love our little corner of the internet. Take good care of yourselves, you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.